Hello and welcome to this Python tutorial with me, James from Matador Software. We're going to look at converting RGB values to hex color values and vice versa, hex color values to RGB values. To give a bit of context, maybe if you work with data visualization like I'm here in Power BI, you're regularly going to work with RGB or hex or different color formats to sort of align with backgrounds, as I'm doing here where I have a gradient background. Now there are simpler ways to do it, but let's say I copy this into PowerPoint and I want to use the eyedropper tool to maybe get the RGB or hex values. And I could be using any sort of design tool or graphical tool. And then maybe I'm presented with an RGB value and I need to then go ahead and provide a hex. Well, there are online tools to do this. There are inbuilt tools we can sort of build into other Microsoft applications. But I wanted to see how we could do this in Python with a short script and maybe look at sort of almost automating this process. So that's what we're going to do, and that's the context behind this. So I actually found this script online on Educative by Harsh Jain, so shout out there, and I'd like to share it with you for sort of everyday BI data purposes and how you can use this and understand it. Now we're using Google Collaboratory because it's very simple. You can go into Google and search for Google Colab, and this script could be done in many ways. There's other methods to convert these values, but I wanted to choose one that was native and we didn't have to import any other Python packages. So hopefully you enjoy this. So to convert these RGB to hex values, we first of all need to take 3 RGB values and convert them to their hex representation using the colon and the X, and then we return the hex value. So in the first line, we're defining the RGB to hex conversion function, and that's going to accept 3 RGB values. In the second line, we use return, and we create the hex values using the hashtag, and then we append that on to the colon, X, and the curly brace formatter, and this automatically converts decimal values to hex values. And after that, we return the result. And then at the last stage, we call the function and we pass in the RGB values. So that would be 200, 51, and 201. And this gives us the result, and that will then return a hex value within our code editor. So let's look at what we need to do to convert hex to RGB. So the RGB format has 3 values: red, green, and blue. Now hex color codes differ in that they have a length of 6, like the example above. So you've got C833, C9. So you need to take 2 hex values for 1 RGB value, convert those 2 hex values into decimal values, and then perform the same step with anything else. And then you're left with 3 values that correspond to RGB values. So again, if we look at the code that we've written, in line 1, we define the hex to RGB conversion function that is going to go ahead and accept the code values. Further down the line, we take a loop, the for I in, by taking 2 hex values from the color code at a time. Then, in line 4, we convert the 2 hex values to their decimal representation by specifying the base as 16, so the base 16 data type as the int function. And then at the end, we return the result in tuple format. So tuple is a Python data type for storing data, much like you could think of a list or a dictionary. And then at the end, we can call the function with the print statement, and we use our hex value, and we then get the RGB returned. And you can see that it's congruent. So the hex value that we got before from the RGB, it's just performed the same action vice versa. So you can now see that what we're working with actually works, and it's returning the correct hex and RGB values. So this is two scripts that you can just feel free to copy, utilize however you like, but they may be helpful, and it's interesting to see how you could do this natively instead of online. As usual, if you like this content, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thank you.